If you've been scratching your head wondering why your blog traffic has taken a nosedive recently, you're not alone. Google's helpful content update that rolled out in September 2023 has left so many bloggers in a similar situation with their blog traffic taking a big hit. But don't worry, you can recover your lost traffic and survive this Google update by watching this video. I will break down the changes in Google algorithm and share actionable tips to get you back on track. And the good news is what you will learn in this video will help you recover from all the latest Google updates. In fact, the helpful content update is only one of the recent Google updates. First, we had the August 2023 core update shaking things up. But then, just when we thought we had the grip on things, along comes the September helpful content update. The rollout of this update started on September 14 and was completed on September 28, with thousands of bloggers being affected, losing blog traffic and blog income. But just when you think you can catch your breath, October rolls around with no one but two updates, a core update and a spam update. So, what can we do to survive these updates? What are the steps we can take as bloggers to regain any lost traffic after the helpful content update and rank well on Google? If you want to come out on top, you've got to know what you're up against. So let's dive into what this content update is, and after that, I'll spill the beans on every step you should take to get those page views and Google rank back on tracking. First thing first, what is the helpful content update? For the past few years, Google has been using a system known as the helpful content system to promote quality, people-first content and reduce the visibility of content considered unhelpful. The September 2023 helpful content update has basically brought some key changes to this helpful content system to make sure that search results display original, helpful content created for people and not for search engines. Google ranking algorithm consists of a complex mix of hundreds of factors like backlinks, website speed, core web vitals, domain authority, content relevance, user experience to figure out which content deserves the top spots on the Google search result. With the helpful content update, a new variable comes into play: whether your content is actually helpful. Once the Google algorithm finds content that's relevant to a search query, it then goes a step further to pick out the ones that are the most helpful. So, how does Google determine whether the content of your blog is helpful or not? This system is based on a combination of factors which are experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. Basically, what is also known as EEAT. And this is especially true for content that falls under the category of your money or your life topics, what M, what L. It's content that could significantly impact an individual's health, financial stability, or safety. In these instances, content that strongly aligns with the EEAT principles is given additional weight in ranking. Now, among these elements, trust is the most critical. While the other factors contribute to establishing trust, your content doesn't need to have all of them to be considered helpful. For instance, some content may be deemed helpful because it shows first-hand experience. And that's one of the reasons why after these recent Google updates, you will find lots of pages from Reddit, Quora, other forums, and user-generated content and even reviews now rank on the first page of Google. On the other hand, some content might shine because it's packed with expert advice and shows expertise. Plus, for content to be helpful, you can't just rewrite what's already been said in other blog posts. Your content, as per Google guidelines, must provide substantial additional value and originality. But there is a but. The helpful content update doesn't just evaluate individual blog posts on your site, it assesses the quality of your website as a whole. If a large portion of the content on your blog isn't great, it could drag down the ranking of individual blog posts that are actually pretty good. So even if you got a few star articles that should be ranking well, if the rest of your website is filled with content that Google deems unhelpful, those great blog posts could take a hit too. The good news is that this classifier, the system that will judge whether your content is helpful or not, is entirely automated and runs non-stop to allow Google to monitor newly launched sites and existing ones. It uses a machine learning model and works across all languages around the world. This means that websites will be assessed again and again on a continuous basis, and they can recover if they fix or remove content that is deemed unhelpful. So, what can you do to recover? If you notice a dip in your traffic, and if you're here with me today, I suspect you did notice a big dip in your traffic, you need to audit your content and self-assess your content against the Google guidelines and fix or remove the content that is not helpful. I will link to the questions provided by Google to self-assess your content in the link in the description box below, where I will also link to all the tools and resources I mentioned in this video. And now I will also share my top actionable tips to fix your content if your blog has been hit by the September 2023 helpful content update. The first tip is take the time to audit your blog and investigate. Go on Google Analytics and Google Search Console and identify the pages that have been most impacted and the types of search that are affected. Evaluate these pages in the context of the question provided by Google to assess whether your content is helpful and trustworthy. Be honest with yourself and answer this question. Is this the sort of blog post you'd want to bookmark, share with a friend, or recommend? Does your blog post offer value compared to the other blog posts and search results? You can use Google's guidelines as a checklist to grade your content. If the score is too low, just get rid of this unhelpful content because, as I mentioned earlier, the helpful content update works site-wide. So if you have unhelpful content on your site, it will affect the ranking of your helpful content too. If the score is not too bad, make necessary changes to align your content with Google's guideline following my tips. The next tip I have for you when it comes to fixing your content to recover from the helpful content update, focus on genuinely updating your content to provide the most current and helpful information to your readers. Google now advises against changing the date on pages and blog posts to make them appear fresh when the content hasn't changed substantially. They also advise against adding a lot of new content or removing a lot of old content just to make your blog seem fresh. So when you update your blog post, make sure you actually add new, substantial, and valuable content and only then change the date of your blog post. Before I move on to the next tip, if you want to learn more about how to start a blog and make money blogging, then make sure you click the link in my description box because I have a free guide that will dive deeper into how to create your own blog and get you started. This guide will walk you through the blueprint I used to start my blog that turned into a multiple six-figure business and comes with in-depth strategies, assignments, and tons of actionable tips so you don't want to miss out. Get it for free at the link in the description box below. Back to the next tip. Show your EEAT as much as possible. One of the most effective ways to showcase this is through first-hand experience. For instance, if you're a travel blogger, don't write about places you've never visited. Instead, focus on writing about destinations you've actually visited. Incorporate personal stories and include original photos you've taken yourself to enrich your content. In my case, for example, when I talk about blogging, my content can be seen as both authentic and valuable because I do have a few blogs myself and have been a six-figure blogger for the past 4 years. So create content about things you know well and that test yourself and to show your first-hand experience, including your blog post, original photos, and embed videos, preferably YouTube videos, as Google and YouTube are the same company. Next tip, build trust and show your expertise. Again, this is important to bolster your EEAT. You need to show that there is a real person behind the content. Make sure it's clear to your readers who wrote the article by including a byline at the top of your blog post. But don't stop there. Make that byline clickable so that it will be a gateway to more information about you. Link from your byline to the author archive or even better to the About page. Also, include in all your blog posts a short author bio. It's a powerful tool for establishing trust and showcasing your expertise. Your bio should give background on your expertise, credentials, and the topics you cover. Try to get featured on prominent media outlets through platforms like Haro or on podcasts, and be sure to mention that. Better yet, start your own podcast or write a book. That's another layer of credibility. Moving on to the next tip, don't get rid of your AI-generated content. Well, the helpful content update has brought some changes in Google guidelines about machine-generated content. And guess what? AI content isn't necessarily a deal breaker for Google. Previously, Google's helpful content system gave priority to content created by humans over machine-generated content. But the new update has loosened this restriction. There are two big changes in Google's guideline. One is the shift from helpful content created by people to helpful content created for people. I think the shift is twofold. On one hand, Google is showing a greater acceptance of content generated by artificial intelligence. On the other hand, the focus is on the end user experience, so your readers, your audience, rather than just SEO optimization. And that's what Google calls people-first content. They don't want you to write for search engines. They want you to create content with the purpose of helping actual people. The other change is that they added to the guidelines the word reviewed by next to written by an expert. So they're fine with the content either written or reviewed by an expert, showing once again that Google's attitude towards AI-generated content has loosened up. So my tip is, if you're using ChatGPT, Jasper, or other AI tools to write your blog post, that's totally fine as long as you review your content and make sure it's original, helpful, and adds value to your audience. By the way, if you're enjoying the tips so far, hit the subscribe button to get more tips on how to grow your blog and make money blogging. Back to the next tip, make sure your content is actually helpful. I recommend answering the user's query directly at the beginning of your post. This is essential for creating content that is truly helpful. Contrary to what SEO gurus have been saying, Google has made it clear that the algorithm doesn't prioritize word count. What matters is the quality and relevance of the information you provide. So always adopt a people-first approach to content creation. While SEO is important, your primary focus should be on meeting the needs of your readers, not search engines. To further enhance the user experience, consider including pros and cons, comparison, or other evaluative content that can help their reader make informed decisions. But keep the content focused on what the readers want to know when they search on Google. For example, if you're writing a blog post on how to do a proper push-up, and you start off with a lengthy history of push-ups, you risk losing your reader's interest. The average visitor simply wants to know the correct form and technique for a push-up. So don't add some paragraphs on the evolution of push-ups in ancient civilizations to include keywords or to reach a certain word count. And if you're a food blogger, give them that recipe straight away. Next tip, don't place your affiliate disclosure in the very first paragraph of your blog post. Of course, you must have an affiliate disclosure within blog posts that include affiliate links, as it's required under several regulations and most affiliate programs terms of service. But Google pays a lot of attention to the initial content of a web page to understand its topic and relevance. As long as the affiliate disclosure appears before the first affiliate link you mentioned, you can place it after a few paragraphs of your content. The next tip I have for you when it comes to surviving the helpful content update is to reduce the amount of ads you have on your blog. If your website is jam-packed with ads, especially right at the top where people first land, you might want to rethink this strategy. Google is shifting its focus and it's all about making websites run smoother and be more user-friendly. So cutting back on the ads, especially the ones above the fold, is a smart move. This will make your blog look cleaner and load faster and will provide an overall better experience for everyone who visits your site, which is exactly what Google wants with its recent updates. Next tip, make sure your content doesn't have any spelling errors, stylistic issues, typos, broken links, or anything that will make it appear sloppy. Google will penalize any blog post that seems to be mass-produced or written in a rush. Moving on to the next tip, probably this doesn't apply to the average blogger, but anyway, Google now advises against hosting third-party content on your main site or subdomains without close supervision. This third-party content will now be included in the site-wide signals, and as such, it could potentially affect your blog's overall ranking. So if you've been hosting third-party content, you might want to reconsider. Make sure any third-party content aligns closely with your blog's main purpose and is closely supervised. If it doesn't meet this criteria, it's better to block it from being indexed by Google. The next tip I have for you is more of a general one. Do not put all your eggs in the Google basket. While the helpful content update emphasizes the importance of creating quality, user-focused content, it's also a reminder that diversifying your traffic sources is more crucial than ever. Platforms like Pinterest and other social media channels can be gold mines for driving engaged visitors to your site, but your main focus should be, as always, on building your email list. By building a strong and engaged email list, you create a direct line to your audience independent of any algorithm changes. So even if Google Update does impact your rankings temporarily, having multiple traffic streams can help cushion the blow and maintain a steady flow of visitors to your site. The next tip I have for you is to take this as an opportunity to refine your content strategy and come back stronger than ever. Let's face it, algorithm updates happen all the time. They're just a part of blogging, so don't hit the panic button. The good news is that recovering from this helpful content update is entirely possible. Google's classifiers are always running, continually reassessing websites, including yours. So if you've taken a hit, remember that you'll have opportunities to bounce back as long as you focus on creating helpful, high-quality content that serves your audience needs. And if you want more tips on how to create content, watch this video next where I break down how to write a blog post. Thanks for watching this video and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao e a presto!